States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, it's time here, so I'll go ahead and do roll call. Kurt Flickinger.
Here.
Trevor Hirschberger. David Kaufman.
Here.
Don Lehman.
Here.
John Payne.
Here.
Brian Topping.
Here.
Jessica McFarland. Here. Gretchen Thomas. Here. Scott Kroger. All right.
Trevor is here.
And Trevor's present. Welcome. Alrighty, we'll begin our meeting. The next item on our agenda is the first preliminary determination hearing on the proposal renovations and improvements to school facilities across the school corporation. These projects include roofing, paving, HVAC upgrades, site and athletic improvements, as well as the purchase of buses, equipment, and technology. If you wish to speak during this hearing, please be sure you have signed in on the sheet at the back of the room, including your name and address. We will begin with a brief presentation from the admin and its advisors. Following that, members of the public will have an opportunity to share comments. Each speaker will be asked to limit remarks to 3 minutes, and comments should focus only on the proposed projects under consideration. As required by law, notice of this preliminary determination hearing was published on August 15th, 2025 in the Warsaw Times Union and the Goshen News. At this time, I will open the floor for comments from the public regarding the proposed renovations and improvements. But we're having our presentation first now. Yeah. Okay.
So tonight we're proposing to issue a $3.5 million general obligation bond. This bond will have no effect on our debt service levy, and will be used, as Christina said, renovations and improvements across the corporation as identified in a facility study previously this year. On the screen, the summary proposed financing, the $3.5 million bond repayment term of 4 years. By law, we're required to hold 2 of these hearings, one today and then the one at the next board meeting.
This time I'll open the floor for comments from the public regarding the proposed renovations and improvements. Hearing none, if there are no further comments, the public hearing on these projects is now closed. Please note for the record that the hearing has been held. All right, moving on, we have a time for recognition of visitors and public input. Still nothing. Okay. I will take a proposal for the amendments to the agenda. A motion?
Move to approve. Second.
Motion from Kurt and a second from Don. Any questions or discussion on those amendments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 7-0. I'll take a motion for the consent items to include the amendments we just approved.
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Don and a second from John. Any discussion or comments on those consent items? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. And that motion carries 7-0. There is no unfinished business, so we'll move on to action items. Action item A, consider the adoption of the school board policies, policy 0140, membership, and policy 0150, organization.
These are the 2 policies that Dr. Kroner presented at our last meeting, and these are just updates as the law has changed, and so he's asking for approval for both of these updates.
I'll make a motion that we approve the adoption of the school board policies 0140 and 0150.
Second.
Motion from David and a second from Brian. Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 7-0. Action item B, consider the approval of the out-of-state and overnight field trips as listed.
Sorry, just asking for your approval for, as presented.
I wish to approve the out of state, and overnight trip request as presented. Second.
Motion from Kurt and a second from Don. Any questions or comments on those? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 7-0. We'll move on to the transportation report with Amy Rosa.
Good evening. Tonight, we are checking a box. Former Senate Enrolled Act resulted in 2 Indiana codes that require us to come to you to tell you that we did our job, and that we, as we always do every summer, we review our routes, making sure that, in this case, the law states that we don't have any elementary students crossing any state or federal highway outside of city limits, which we do not, and in this case, in our district, we don't have any students crossing any of those highways outside of city limits, and very rarely inside city limits. So this is something we have to do in a public board meeting so that we can check the box to satisfy that Indiana code.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your report.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Sorry.
Go ahead, Pat.
Sorry, this is just another iRead update. We had the update on curriculum last time, but this is just, the iRead was embargoed. So I just wanted to talk just quickly about the why behind it. Focusing specifically on 3rd grade and why 3rd grade. And there's a lot of research out there about why it's important to have students read and be proficient at reading by the 3rd grade. Lots of studies that if students are not proficient at reading, then their success is very diminished. Success in high school, success in predictor of 8th grade reading level, predictor then at 9th grade, and then of course into high school, and those differences in graduation and college outcomes. And so that's why the focus on 3rd grade reading levels, and really just that change from learning to read to reading to learn, and that shift that happens. And our 3rd grade teachers are the teachers that do so many transitions at that level, really focusing on the basics and those foundations in K-2, and then in 3rd grade really changing into now taking those skills and changing to now applying them to reading to learn about things, and to read about your social studies and reading and math, and more learning in your reading skills. And so it's important to make sure that we have students proficient. We want them obviously to be readers. We want students to be successful for the better of our community, for students to be successful in general and be contributing citizens to our community. So these are our iRead results over the last several years, 2021 to 2025. The biggest thing that I want to highlight here is just 2024 to 2025. You can see that all 3 of our buildings had an increase, and so that's definitely a celebration that we're excited to see. Again, not just the data, but to know that our students were successful, that our students were able to show on this one indicator, right? One out of many, but one indicator that they were able to show proficiency in those reading scores. So you can see another way of displaying from 2021 to 2025, and this is our iRead percent passing. So we were at 89.66% passing in 2021. In 2025, this year we were at 94.8% passing as a district, which was huge, compared to last year at 88.6%. So we had huge gains compared to the previous year. And then this is just where we are ranked in the state. I think last board meeting I explained that even if tests change, one thing that we can see is that they change for everybody in the state. And so that's one reason why we compare where we are in the state, because that predictor changes for everyone. So last year we were in the top 32%, this year we're in the top 19.5%. So we had some huge gains there as well. This is just a breakdown of our 3rd grade. Total, we had 213 students who took the test at some point. 104 of our students passed as 2nd graders, so 104 of them did not have to take the test as 3rd graders. We did have some students who, like, maybe they moved or they were on a different track. They didn't have to take the iRead test because maybe they were on an alternate testing track or things like that. So we had 108 students that ended up retesting in the spring of 2025 when iRead opened up. 81 of those students passed at that time. When we had a retest the first time in summer, which was at the end of May, so we had a lot of interventions that took place between the initial test in March to the May retest, and we had 24 students retest, and we had 9 students pass. We had another summer retest. At that time, we had 10 students retest, and we had 4 of those students pass. At the end, we had 10 students get a good cause exemption. That's if you are special education and a case conference committee decides that it would be in your interest to get a good cause exemption, or if you are an EL student, an English learner, and you've been learning English for less than 2 years, you can get a good cause exemption. So we had 10 students who qualified for that. So we only had 1 student who did not pass or did not have good cause exemption, who had to be retained due to the new law. So 1 out of the whole entire district. So that is phenomenal data. But I really want to focus on is our journey. And we had like the old summer school when I first started. We had like the old traditional summer school where we just had students kind of coming in, and we did kind of group them according to like if they passed IREAD or if they didn't pass, and if they needed some skill work. And then we switched from that after COVID. We did extended day, and we felt like, you know, students were like opting out of summer school. We couldn't get them here. Their parents were opting out. They had vacations planned. They had other activities planned, and so a lot of them weren't coming. They were declining to come. And so we said, okay, how about we have them here during the school year? Like, let's just extend the day and let's see if they'll come that way. And they did. And we had a lot of success. And it was a joint effort. Like the business office worked with us on finding the money. Transportation worked with us on finding drivers who would drive additional routes. You know, our teachers who stayed after school from multiple grade levels, not just 3rd grade, but different grade levels, staying after school and tag teaming, figuring out childcare, figuring out what they were going to do differently in their own homes to figure out, you know, who could take the first extended day session, who could take the second extended day session. So literally across the district, every single department in different areas working together to figure it out. And we did, and it was very successful. But then the state came in and they said, okay, under this new law, you have to offer summer school. And so the extended day no longer counted, and so we had to go back to a traditional summer school. So in that, we came together and we said, okay, let's do that. And so we came together, and we were originally going to have summer school at all 3 buildings. And as we started having success, we were like, okay, this doesn't make sense. Like, we have so few kids to run the buses across the district and trying to find teachers and moving them across the district. We ended up condensing it to 1 building. And I think it was the best thing ever, because to see all of those teachers come together and work together, and to have those kids experience all of them working together was like phenomenal. So I invited 3 of the teachers here together so they could kind of share their story, because I think more than the data, it's more than hearing me talk again. I think it's more important to hear them. So we have Cole Miller, Erin Hazley, and Laura Hale, and all 3 of them work with 3rd grade this year. And we did have 2nd grade too. We had 33 2nd graders attend summer school as well. But I'll let those 3 continue talking.
I guess I'm going to start. First of all, it was a privilege to work with the kids. We had a really fun group of kids, and it was great getting to know them. And of course, we worked on reading skills, the foundational skills, comprehension, fluency, vocabulary. But even more importantly, we understood that these kids needed help focusing on believing in themselves as well. I mean, kids know what it means when you don't pass IREAD. They know. So we also worked a lot on that and building their confidence. Every child is different. They each have their own struggles and their own strengths and their own stories. And so when in such small groups, it's easier to work with them on that at their own level. So sometimes what a student needs is that encouragement and a chance to build that confidence so that they know they can succeed. So we practiced, just a little more practice and reassurance. They realized they could do it. And we loved watching that happen, watching that confidence build over those few weeks that we spent with them. Our hope was not only to help them be successful with IREAD, but to give them the tools to face challenges with confidence and to realize that they can do hard things. And they did do hard things. And they told us they were hard, but they did them. And that they are capable of success. And like Gretchen said, even more, I loved collaborating. We don't get that much time to do that anymore in this day and age. And I learned something new from these 2 every day. It was great. We're definitely going to sign up for it again. It was amazing to be able to work with them and watch these kids grow. It made your heart feel good. And able to watch them succeed.
Yeah, and I would say to piggyback off that a little bit as well, just the relationships that we were able to build, not only with the students, but also, I mean, with these two,
Yeah.
it was great. With the students, just working in such a small group, we were able to realize and really tap into what their interests were. And so some students shared that they loved to go camping. And so I was able to find, all of us honestly, differentiated passages at their reading level that brought in their interests. What about camping did they like, and how can we leverage that to help build confidence and gain momentum moving forward when we started diving into that testing. And then another thing that I want to do is also shout out Dr. Thomas and Dr. Comer, just because of everything that we were able to accomplish with them as well. They trusted us. That was the biggest thing, is we noticed our plan going in was we were going to test them on a Monday and a Tuesday. They came in Monday and it was like dragging feet. Not a single kid was awake. And so we decided, you know what, that's not putting their best foot forward. And so we were able to test them on a Tuesday and a Wednesday. And I don't know any other leadership other than Dr. Thomas and Dr. Comer that are able to really trust their teachers the way that they do. So thank you guys as well for all of that. It was super successful.
Absolutely. And again, I just thank the administration and the board for allowing us to do this, and enjoyed the small number. We were able to do individualized plans for each of them. The three of us, like Laura said, collaborated well together. We were able to get the kids up and moving throughout the day, that they saw all three of us because they were in small groups. And I think that was key as well, because we were able to differentiate between our groups even. So we have the same skills, but we were able to scaffold and meet them where they were at. So again, thank you to all of you as well. I also would like to shout out Marcy Porter. She was able to get the kids lunches at the beginning of the weeks, and they took those home. Snacks were provided, transportation was awesome, like everything ran so smoothly, and like Gretchen, you said about the location, I think that definitely was key to the success of this. And then again, I really enjoyed having all three buildings, elementaries coming together, and having all hands on deck.
It was a great experience.
So Laura is at Napanee, Aaron is the coach at Woodview, and Cole was 4th grade at Wa-Nee, now he's 3rd grade. So all three buildings working together in 3rd grade in all three different roles. Very cool. That's all we have for iRead. Any questions for any of us?
Nice job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can I add something too?
Oh,
Because I
oh
want to
yes,
say,
Mr. Crichton, Mr. Principal, sorry.
He's
here too.
it's really, I'm just here to support because I watched what they did, but they talk so much about the kids, and it is the kids that test, but this weighs heavily on the teachers all year. I mean, this is something, we've already had conversations about iRead for this coming year, but and not heavy in a way that they put all that pressure on themselves, but it is, there's a lot to it. And you think about these kids, we know that it's a K-3, collaborative effort because they've had 720 days of school. As I'm sitting here thinking about that, 4 years of school, and they didn't pass. They get 18 days then to try to figure out a way where we got one more shot to get them to pass, and they did. And so it's, you can't just make up all that time, but they do a great job. And so, yeah, it was a great team effort. But they do put a lot on themselves.
Do you think you can scale that to be more of a part of the curriculum for the whole year?
It is.
It is.
Oh,
It absolutely is. And
Oh,
it's
it is. Oh, from now already, starting already. Already.
Yeah, and even when we didn't have, after the first test, it goes on the whole year, but then after the first test, those that didn't pass, there was another intensive session for those kids to get them ready for the end of the year, and then the 18 days they have. Yeah, and you just never know. That test day, when they take it, you don't know if that kid had a rough morning. And there's a lot of questions on that test.
And we already have data from 2nd grade, so we already have, important things that we know about them as readers. But trust me, we're already working on it, all right. For sure.
I didn't highlight this part, but this is from our current 3rd grade now, which would have been 2nd grade last year. 63% of those students already passed as 2nd graders of the 149 across the district. So we're looking at the rest of those students, that 37% across the district, and saying, okay, what were they not successful? We have some in-class assessments and in-class tools. We have other data that we're digging down and doing some interventions during the school day now, and looking at what can we do to get them geared up. And and just become proficient readers. Again, that's ultimately what the goal is. It's not just the test, it's to get them to be proficient readers. The test is one measurement of that.
Well, thank you, and thanks for adding to your already long Monday to come here and give us some insight on that. We appreciate your extra time in the summer as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Alrighty, there being no further business to come to the attention of the board, a meeting to adjourn, a motion to adjourn is in order.
Thanks.
Motion from Trevor, and a second from Kurt, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?